Once your external walls are in place, you're ready to begin drawing your internal walls. In this video, I'll show you how to draw internal walls by measuring from existing points on your external walls. If you haven't already viewed them, we strongly recommend that you watch the basic drawing skills videos, which cover how to use the mouse and shortcut keys, before you watch this one. If you have any construction lines on your drawing from plotting out your external walls, you might want to delete them now. To do this, click on the Drawing and Annotation tab. Click the Delete All button in the Construction Lines section of the tab. A dialog box will pop up asking if you're sure you want to delete the construction lines. Click Yes. Alternatively, you can hide the construction lines temporarily by pressing the Toggle Visibility button. To draw your internal walls, click back onto the Architectural tab. Click on the Internal Walls drop-down menu. A range of wall types are available, including stud walls, single skin and cavity block walls, and also alternative construction methods such as timber frame, SIPs and ICF walls. For this example, I'm going to select the single skin block wall. The Wall Component Builder pops up. From here you can choose the specification and configuration of your internal wall and enter its dimensions. First, select a specification which suits your job. You might want to refer to the U-value, wall thickness and rate columns to help you decide on the best specification for your job. You can make changes to a specification by clicking on the specification and then clicking the Review Specification button. You can swap or edit a rate or resource within a specification, or delete any rates or resources you don't need. You can also add items to the specification. Once you're happy with the specification, click Next to move on to the next screen of the Wall Component Builder. Now you need to select a configuration. Note that the upper floor configuration doesn't include foundations and footings. I'm going to select the ground floor configuration, then click Next. The next screen prompts you to select a specification for the foundations. As with the wall, you can review and edit a foundation specification by clicking on the specification and then clicking the Review Specification button. If you're happy with the foundation specification out of the box, click Next. Now let's take a look at the foundation dimensions. If you can't see all of the dimension input boxes, double-click on the bar at the top of the window to make the component builder full screen. This will allow you to see all of the input boxes and ensure that the key information is completed. Press the Tab key to move between the input boxes, overtyping any of the foundation dimensions as needed. All dimensions are entered into the component builder in millimetres by default. If you'd rather work in metres, find out how to change the units by viewing the video called How to Change the Units in BuildingWorks. Click back to return to the foundation specification screen, or Next to continue on to the footing details. This next screen prompts you to select a specification for the footings. As with the wall and foundation specifications, you can review and edit a footing specification by clicking on the specification and clicking the Review Specification button. If you're happy with the footing specification as it is, click Next. This next screen requires you to select a footing configuration. Of course, it's crucial that you ensure your selected foundation and footing are compatible in terms of construction and dimensions. Select shallow strip or trench fill as required, and then click Next. Now we can review the footing dimensions. Using the Tab key, work your way down the dimension input boxes, making any changes as needed. Once you're happy with the footing dimensions, click Next. Now we can enter the wall dimensions. Click into the Height of Unfinished Wall to Side 1 input box. The tech tip at the top of the window gives an explanation of the dimension you need to enter. Each input box has its own tech tip, and they're a helpful point of reference if you come across any dimensions you're unsure of. In this example, the tech tip explains that we need to enter the height of floor zone at the top of the wall, which doesn't require plastering and decoration. As this is a ground floor internal wall for a multi-storey property, we need to enter the height of floor zone at the top of both sides of the wall. I'm going to enter a height of unfinished wall of 225mm on each side of the wall. Now select the wall height from the drop-down box. Alternatively, you can type a wall height into the drop-down box. And once you're done, click Finish. Now you're ready to draw your walls. The instructions ask us to click to place the start point. To zoom into an area of the drawing, place your cursor over the area you want to view and scroll the mouse wheel towards the screen. The most accurate way of placing your internal walls is to measure a distance from an existing point on an external wall. You can do this using the relative tool, which is the R key on your keyboard. To do this, hover your cursor over an endpoint on the internal corner of an external wall. Don't click on it, just hover your mouse over it. Press the R key on your keyboard to select the relative tool. Now press an arrow key on your keyboard to indicate the position of the internal wall relative to the endpoint. I'm going to click the down arrow key. In the distance dialog box, enter the distance to the internal wall. By default, the distance dialog box works in millimeters. As mentioned before, you can change the units if you wish. Click OK. The first point of the wall appears on the drawing. The instructions now ask us to click to place the next point. Press the F7 key on your keyboard to switch on Snap Mode. You'll see that the Snap Mode button is highlighted at the bottom right of the screen. Now find the perpendicular point on the opposite wall. Clicking onto the perpendicular snap point will ensure that your wall is drawn straight. Click to place the end of the wall. BuildingWorks is now ready to draw another wall. The instructions ask us once again to click to place the start point. Zoom out of the drawing by scrolling the mouse wheel away from the screen, and zoom in on the point where you want to place your next wall. Again, start by hovering your cursor over the endpoint on an internal corner of an external wall. Press the R key on your keyboard to select the relative tool. Then press an arrow key to indicate the position of the internal wall relative to the endpoint. I'm going to click the down arrow key again. In the distance dialog box, enter the distance to the internal wall, and then click OK. The first point of the wall appears on the drawing. Press the F7 key to switch on Snap Mode, and find the perpendicular point on the opposite wall. Click to place the end of the wall. You can press the Escape key on your keyboard at any time to drop the internal wall tool and stop drawing your walls. If you've just stopped drawing your walls and decide you want to draw another one with the same specification, click the middle mouse button. This will repeat the last action. I'm going to press the Escape key to finish drawing my walls for now. If you want to check your room dimensions are correct, you can use the Measure tool. The Measure tool can be found on the Modify and Selection tab. Alternatively, press the Ctrl and M keys on your keyboard to summon the Measure tool. The instructions ask you to click to indicate the first point. Click on a snap point at one end of the room. The instructions now ask you to click to indicate the second point. Find and click on the perpendicular snap point to place the second point. The Measure Info dialog box pops up, showing some key measurements. If you refer to the length measurement, you can see the length of the room you've measured. Once you've checked the measurement, click Close. If your room dimensions aren't correct, it may be that you need to change the justification. When we talk about justification, it simply means the side of the wall that you're placing with your cursor clicks. This will affect the room dimensions, so it's important to get it right. The justification of a wall is indicated by red and blue handles which appear on the wall when it is selected. You can easily change the justification of a wall by selecting a different option from the Justification drop-down menu. You can find this on the Wall tab whenever you're drawing a wall, or if you have a wall selected. Pressing the J key on your keyboard when drawing a wall will also toggle between the left, centre and right justification options. If you notice that your walls haven't healed in properly, simply click the Refresh button at the top right of the screen, and your walls should appear correctly. Once you've finished drawing your internal walls, it's a good time to save your project. Don't forget, you can give your drawing a number each time you save your project, so that if you make a mistake or need to make a design change, it'll be much easier to retrace your steps. Click the Save As Project button, enter a name for this version of the project, and then click Save. Have a go at drawing your internal walls. Mouse over the snap point you want to measure from and press the R key on your keyboard. Press an arrow key to indicate the position of the wall you're drawing relative to the snap point, and then enter the distance into the distance dialog box. Press the F7 key to turn on snap mode, and then find the perpendicular snap point. Click the left mouse button to place the end of the wall. And don't forget to check the justification of the walls. You can use the J key to change it.